Dear friends, hello to everyone. If you are planning to make money from trading, I recommend you watch this video. I will be speaking in simple terms even when we discuss things together. About volumes, about delta, about the future, price movements, and chart analysis. I'll try to speak in simple terms because I personally like it when everything is explained very simply without any unnecessary complexity and so on. Let's begin. How do I analyze? First, I'll give a brief overview and then we'll dive into detailed breakdowns. To start, I go to the broker, choose a currency pair, and make sure the payout percentage is above 70%. Right now, it's 82% for us. And so, I look at the level. If you look very closely, you'll notice a certain pattern. Do you see the zone? I marked out this zone based on the pauses that appear on the chart. 1, 2, 3. 3, 4. Notice, the first movement was upward, the first test, the second, the third, the fourth, then a small pullback and a breakout of this level. As we were taught in textbooks on chart analysis, if you have a support level, always open upward from it. If there is a resistance level, always open downward from it, but few people mention or clarify that there is such a phenomenon as a break in structure. For example, you had an uptrend. Let's highlight it here. Here's a low and here's another low. We mark the level here based on them. We have one touch, a pullback, two touches, a pullback. Here it is. 3 touches, a pullback, and the 4th touch is a breakout. A break in the structure of the uptrend. And it's no longer an uptrend. The channel breaks. The same goes for horizontal levels. Now I've marked 2 levels within which the chart is moving. Here we have a flat, or as many call it, a sideways trend. Of course, there is also a lower level. Let's take a look. I'm cloning this level and placing it lower. The level that I placed lower, I'll adjust it. I'll make it pink. In this case, in my opinion, we have 1 touch, 2, 3, and with the 4th approach, I expect a breakout. It will be broken. That is, I understand from the chart analysis that this level is about to be broken because it won't hold. Or it could happen that there will be a 4th touch, a pullback, and then a breakout on the 5th touch. But in most cases, the breakout happens on the 4th touch of the level. You can see for yourself. By the way, I forgot to mention at the beginning. Test everything on a demo account. I'm switching to Telegram. This is our team bot. It helps with analysis. I click on Start. I select a currency pair, Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Simply put, that's CAD JPY. And I choose the time frame, M1. This time frame is enough for me to see what's happening in my case. I want to open a trade to break through this level. Look, the bot. It gives us a screenshot, and from this screenshot, we understand that we urgently need to go down. 3 minutes have already passed. And now, as you can see, I hurried, because you simply cannot afford to hesitate here. If I had hesitated even a little, the breakout would have gone even further. And we need to enter before the level, or right when the breakout is just about to happen. And if we hesitate, unfortunately, it might turn out that we simply won't have time to enter. So the very first step is that we need to work through all the levels. Mark all the levels and see what's happening here. There is a pink level, we have 3 pullbacks, which means the 4th touch will be a breakout, or maybe the 5th touch, or the 6th. How can we figure out which of the 3 will be the breakout? In such a case, I understand it's a breakout. In any case, it's going to happen now. Most likely, it will be on the 4th touch, because here's a tip for you. There's a very strong approach to the level. Do you see this approach? Usually, breakouts happen right away. But to see exactly when it will happen, whether on the 4th or the 5th touch, I look at the bot. From the chart analysis, we've seen that no pullback is expected here. There will be a breakout, the chart will go down, breaking through this level, to know for sure and understand whether there will be a breakout or not. I use our bot for confirmation. I request the currency pair and look at the main indicators. In fact, even this bot highlights the levels for you in case you haven't yet figured out how to identify them yourself. The first main criterion is the indicator of the chart's future movement. It shows that there will be a downward movement. Second, one of them is 56%, which is the majority, indicating a downward trend. So here and here it means you should go down. Here there is no oversold condition, No such crossover, which means the chart will continue to move downward. But when this crossover happens, the chart will enter overbought territory and move upward. But since it hasn't happened yet, you can still go down further. I'm not considering the vertical volume indicator here. It broadly shows that there will be a stop in the downward movement, but this could be due to the fact that there is news right now. I'll talk about that as well, it's very important. And the fifth indicator, you see here the histogram is wide and here the histogram is narrow. If you have a wide histogram, it usually means there is a level. And this level is usually hard for the chart to break through. So there were tests here and only then did it break through. If we have a narrow histogram also indicates a level, but it's so weak because there is no volume. Simply put, I'm talking about the width. If we go a bit more in depth, a large volume, a wide histogram, and a level mean that it's strong, so it will constantly cause pullbacks. A narrow histogram means there is a level, but it's weak. It won't cause a pullback. It will result in a breakout. Out of the 5 indicators my bot has, 4 out of 5 show that there will be a breakout. Why doesn't the 5th one show it? Because if we go to this tab, we'll see all the news that came out, and there was a lot, both for the euro and the dollar. For the dollar in particular, they have a very strong impact on the entire market. What does this mean? For example, you might have executed this breakout trading strategy 10,000 times. But because of the news, the breakout didn't happen this time. The price started to rise. That's how news affects the market. And some indicators show incorrect results. A breakout occurred. We did everything right, analyzed it correctly, and made the right decisions. This trade, we closed it in profit. I just didn't have time to walk you through it. The breakout happened. Let's do it again. We're looking for a currency pair. For example, Australian dollar and Swiss franc. Can we analyze it? Basically, we can. But I'll add something else. Why am I not analyzing it? Because in the previous history, there was a strong upward movement and in fact the beginning, end and middle of a strong move. There is in theory an imbalance. Let's take a good look at it. Australian dollar, Swiss franc. Click on Start. Select this currency pair. Australian dollar, Swiss franc and the M1 time frame. Now let's see together what we're going to do next. First, we'll conduct a graphical analysis. We'll mark the zone levels together. Here's the first zone. A pause. A pause. A breakout occurred. Here's the second zone. Between the upper and lower zones there's a gap, an empty space. The chart just crossed it in one direction and that's it. Of course, there are levels based on previous pauses. Here, you can highlight them. Here's this level. It's in the middle. Notice the strong upward movement. In this strong movement, there is a beginning and an end to this move. Here it is. And here too, there is a midpoint. That is this segment that I'm highlighting. Here it is, the beginning, the end. So, the beginning. I cancel after I subtract this red candle. I look at this quote right here. And here is the midpoint. And in 90% of cases, this is called an imbalance. In 90% of cases, how does this work? The movement goes upward, the chart reaches the midpoint, forms a base at the minimum, and then moves upward. But why was I wondering whether to enter here or not? There was a correction, and the pullback had already happened. So, if we hesitate even a little now, the upward movement might already be gone, or, on the contrary, it might not happen at all, and there will be a breakout. Maybe that's not the case. This is one of those cases. See, the upward movement took off. This is when the imbalance doesn't work. And here I didn't have time, and here I didn't have time to make a forecast for this currency pair. The future movement of the chart was showing growth. For this reason, I use another currency pair. Sometimes it happens that profitable currency pairs just fall into your hands. You open a trade, and it immediately brings a profit. You open a second one, and it instantly brings a profit too. And when you analyze currency pairs like this, all these pairs automatically present good opportunities that you can take advantage of. But sometimes, I sit here for 10 minutes, go through all the currency pairs, and realize that right now, but there's no option to open a trade. This will happen to you as well. I didn't know this when I first started trading. No, It really got in the way, and I thought something was wrong with me. I started beating myself up. And when a trader does this, psychology becomes very important in trading. Unfortunately, AUD on the M1 time frame, unfortunately, nothing works out and things go sideways even more. I marked the level, I marked this level, based on previous stops, stop 1, stop 2. You see, sometimes it's not worth hesitating. 1, 2, the second touch, even if there's a third, it's still a pullback. An upward trend is moving toward this blue level. If we look at this, it's an uptrend, high, high, high. This is also a touch, the intersection of the trend line and the horizontal level. This is a pullback. But I need to check myself. Did I do everything right or not? That's why I added the currency pair to my favorites. And I open it. I requested it on the bot. By the way, this is very important right now. I wanted to open a position downwards on the pullback, but I checked with the bot. One indicator points to an increase. 2 indicators of volume, 3, 4. 4 indicators point to an increase. So when I want to open a position down, but the bot says I should go up. I try not to analyze such currency pairs, and I recommend the same to you if you realize you don't have a clear entry. If you see, for example, a favorable market opportunity, and you are fully ready to open a trade on this specific currency pair, the British pound against the Swiss franc, then you would proceed to open a long buy position right here. However, the bot specifically shows you that you should move further down. It's better not to analyze it. Here's the situation. Here, I would open a sell position, betting on a decline. British pound, Swiss franc. Let's check the indicators on the bot. And according to the bot, we also have a signal to go down here. You see, the chart is moving higher, breaking through the level we marked together. It might go up to the upper level. And strong movements are starting to appear. Here's a strong upward movement. I'm not analyzing this currency pair. You could have entered, you see. News affects this currency pair, and this one as well. You could have entered, but it's not worth the risk. It's better for me to wait out this storm for half an hour and then enter again. Without risk, carefully, so there aren't such strong movements. And this is the key to profit, and this is the key to clean trades. Currency pair, British pound, Japanese yen. You see, I closed one currency pair in profit, took a clean profit, and rejected the next currency pairs again. For the next 5 currency pairs, I can't do anything. Here, I highlight this zone. In fact, what do we see here? First test, second touch, pullback. Here it is, the second maximum. I believe that here you need to open a currency pair for a downward pullback, adding it to favorites. But to be absolutely sure, I open the bot, and according to the bot, I double check myself. Yes, according to the bot as well. The indicators are blurred. Here it's up, here it's down, here it's down, here it's up, you see. And there isn't 100% situation here that I would want to work with. Let's keep looking and watching further. Maybe I'll take a pause now. I'll wait a little bit. And we'll work through this currency pair again. Or we'll consider another one. Because when you don't have any currency pairs left and you've already gone through all the currency pairs, then you take a pause, a break, and you rest. Because when you analyze and can't find the right pair, in fact, it's all for nothing. Your energy is wasted. And believe me, a lot of energy is spent on analysis. Currency pair, British pound, Canadian dollar. Start, click. And we select the M1 time frame because my trade duration, the expiration time is 3 minutes. What about here? Where would I open a position? A short-term upward trend, going up, then a correction, up again, another correction. I would open upwards here. This was the level. Chart touched it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, then broke through. After the breakout, the chart will now start hitting it from the other side. First touch, second, third, fourth. The second touch is a pullback. So here, I would open upwards. But you need to double check yourself with the bot. Up, up, down, up. Look, right now 3 minutes for an upward move. Currency pair, British pound, Canadian dollar, up. I think it's clear here. I've done the analysis. This is the picture we have. There was a level, there was a zone, and when the chart keeps hitting this zone for a long time, sooner or later it breaks through. Now it's hitting the zone again, but from the other side. First touch, second, third. This is what happens in most cases, a pullback. But the fourth, fifth, and sixth times, that's a breakout. That's why I opened an upward trade here. I believe the chart will move toward this level. And here too, if you notice, we have one high, two highs. It could be 3 times, then a pullback, and then there might be a breakout. Following the short-term trend, after the breakout, I entered upward. So how many did I need? 6 currency pairs. I watched, analyzed, and only entered on the 7th one. The first was the 7th. This shows that you shouldn't rush. If you understand that, yes, it's worth entering, and you're confident, then go ahead and enter. If you have doubts, I had doubts when I was analyzing. There's no need to rush. Now, regarding our confirmation, a signal to go up, 66% upward. Okay. The future movement of the chart is upward. Okay? Signal upward. What do we see here in terms of volume? Here we have a strong zone. A very strong zone. That means a strong level. This is the strong level, the chart. And at first, it was knocking from one side, then it broke through. Now it's knocking from the other side. And the second touch is a pullback. This is confirmation of what we saw in the chart analysis. A third confirmation. But here, there's a signal downward. And here, I wouldn't say it's a signal downward because there was overbought, a correction, and maybe it will go into overbought again. Just like here, there was overbought, a correction, and then overbought again. So, out of these 5 confirmations of mine, 3 are in favor of an upward move, 1 is for a downward move, and 1 is neutral, so that that's what I mean, that you should just wait. But 3 very strong indicators of the chart's future movement, delta, volumes, and my chart analysis all suggest that there will and should be an increase. It should, of course, but it's not guaranteed. Well, let's take a look. What time is it in Moscow right now? 20:01. And I'm barely able to talk anymore because it's been a whole day. I've talked and analyzed so much already. But I want to make my videos as long as possible, really as long as possible. So look, now there are 10 seconds left for this currency pair. We close it, and now let's analyze something else. 3 trades, plus we take an excellent profit of $74. Awesome. And then we start monitoring and watching again. I'm already yawning, sorry. That's just how it goes sometimes. And all these 7 currency pairs that I analyzed, but didn't enter trades on them. Believe me, they also leave their mark on my attentiveness, on my fatigue, on all of this. The currency pair is Euro, Australian dollar, EUR, AUD, time frame 1 minute. I'm waiting for a response from the bot. As for me, I've marked one level below and another above. And what do we do here? I would open a down trade here. Why? Because the level we have here, to be honest, I'll call it number 1. This is the first touch, right? The first approach to the level is a pullback. The second approach to the level is a test, and I also expect a pullback. But this lower level, number 2, has already given us 1 correction, 2 corrections. It happened here. Not quite a touch, so I don't count it. 3, 4. There might be a breakout, but at the very least, level 1. I believe the chart shouldn't break through right now. Now let's move on to the bot. With the bot, I also need to check what we have here. According to the bot, no, it's up. Most are up, most here are down. Here it's down, so it's 50-50. We're not analyzing the currency pair. Goodbye to the levels. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to take a break. Most likely, I'll trade in the morning, because right now, I'm just barely hanging on. I just want to rest. Sometimes it happens that because of the trading sessions, you get up at like 3 o'clock or at 8:30. And then, when you trade at night or in the evening the next day, and then again during the day, the fatigue just keeps building up. And it's really hard. The currency pair is US dollar to Japanese yen. So keep in mind the fatigue, even if you think you're not tired. Fatigue and tension accumulate, and this affects our profits. Here I would consider opening a long position because there have been 3 touches, there's interest at the level, and here, guys, there's a signal to go up. What I'm concerned about is this. The first touch, the second, and the third, I'm wary of a pullback. Only after that, look, 1 minimum, 2 minimums, I draw a line through them. So let's do it this way. If there is a pullback, that's the entry point to go up from this level. I don't have time to wait for this correction. There's already an upward movement. A breakout happens right at the 3rd touch. That happens sometimes too. Do you know why that happened? That's a lesson for you as well. Let's switch to the bot, open the currency pair. Here it is. You see the icon. This means that a news release is about to come out, which will have a strong impact on this currency pair. Here, the signal for an upward movement is 58%. This is the future. The chart movement indicates growth upwards, that it will rise. The level of the white histogram is much higher. Here, the chart still has a long way to go to reach it. This level here, the histogram is much smaller. You can go for a breakout. There are 3 confirmations. Here is a staircase and green candles for a downward movement, which means the upward trend will continue. Overbought conditions were present, expecting a move into oversold. Out of 5 indicators, 4 suggested going up, but the upward movement already happened. And you see, on the one hand, at the beginning of my trading journey, I used to feel really upset that I missed moments like these. We wanted to enter on the breakout, and I was missing such moments. How could it be that I didn't get in, that I made a mistake? But now I think differently. In fact, I feel regret when I enter a trade while having doubts. You shouldn't do that. If you have doubts, it's better not to enter. Look, I take a pause now. I'll come back and trade a bit later. So, team, what time is it in Moscow right now? Let's check. 8:05, early morning. And now, feeling fully energized and with a clear head, I want to open a couple of trades. Also, for this video, I ended up making 5 trades. But do you know what the reason is? The reason. When you trade in the evening, the payout percentage is at its maximum. 70% is also good, but not as good. Of course, it could have been better. Currency pair, Australian dollar, US dollar. We highlight the horizontal zone, the horizontal level, and now we are going to conduct an analysis. Right here, you see I noticed that the chart in this case touches once, twice, 3 times. And in the previous history, we should check that too. There it is, the 4th touch. Let me show you like this so it's absolutely clear. 1 touch, and here is the 3rd one. You can't hesitate here. Currency pair, Australian dollar, US dollar. Click on start. AUD USD time frame, 1 minute. Why can't you hesitate? Because the perfect entry point may already be lost. And here's something else that's very interesting. I marked this level based on this pause. See? But what if we move it like this now? It doesn't touch these lows. In fact, there's another level here. And here we have 1 touch, 2 touches, 3 touches. And theoretically, there should be a pullback here. Let's see what it tells me now. So I think there will be a breakout there, but no, I would open upwards. There's news here. The chart movement shows, according to the indicator, that the chart will go down. Here it's 58%, here it's overbought, also down, and here there's strong volume, the chart is hitting against it. You know, everything points to a breakout of the level. But I actually wanted to open here for a breakout at first. Then I looked more closely and realized there would be a pullback here. So the breakout of the level, you know, which one? This one? But it should have happened after the pullback, and only then would I have entered. Although there was a touch, a pullback, and then a breakout happened, I'm not entering. You see, I have some doubts, just a little. When you have doubts, you shouldn't enter. It's not worth entering. If you enter while doubting, that's not very good. Because doubts create chaos. And when there's chaos and unstructured thoughts, analysis, strategy, well, maybe now you closed in profit, but in the long run, it will be a loss. I've marked the level. I looked here, we have a second touch, One touch, this is the second touch. I would have urgently opened a trade up here, on the pair. Australian dollar to Canadian dollar, AUD CAD 1 minute on the bot. Marking it, I would have opened an upward trade here. Besides that, we can look at what we have for the highs. There's one and then a second and third high. If there's a new approach, there might be a breakout in this case. 4. Let's monitor and see what the bot tells me, and then we'll make a decision. So here, I would have opened an upward trade. Let's see what the bot tells me. And the bot tells me that it should go down. Can you imagine? And the bot is really insisting that it should go down. The future movement of the chart is downward. Here, it's down. Here, the weak volumes are also pointing down. Out of 5 indicators, 4 are clearly signaling that it should go down, but I don't enter like that. I try to align my analysis with the bot, and when both are in sync, that's when I enter. Look here. Stop, there's a level, do you see it? We have 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, 4 touches. But this one wasn't a touch. The 4th touch is a breakout. Will there be a breakout or not? In that case, you definitely need to check with the bot. Alright, let's analyze something else together. They're bothering me with messages in the morning, you see. That's not very good either. My advice to you is, the main thing is to make sure no one distracts you. As soon as someone starts distracting you, immediately stop trading. That's 100% accurate information. If you've had an argument with someone, a quarrel, your mind is occupied with something else. Take a walk for an hour or 2, come back home, and then continue trading. A person's state, a trader's state, directly affects trading, directly affects it. AUD USD. We were working on that together, right? I've asked before. Let me ask again. It directly affects your profit. AUD/USD, time frame M1. Let's wait and see what we have here. Right now, the chart is stuck between 2 levels, between the lower level, from which, in theory, a pullback should occur, and the upper level, which we marked according to the settings. In theory, did we just have a signal for a breakout and a move down? Right here? So now, if there are signals for an upward move, I would enter a pullback from this level. Let's wait and see what the bot tells me. So since one level has already been broken, no, it's still the same, just a little bit down. And now, what should I do now? Take another pause, take a break, wait, and only then start again and analyze. That's probably what we'll do, because as you can see, there are very few currency pairs early in the morning. Of course, you could look at currency pairs with a lower percentage, but there's no point. You put in the maximum amount of effort, but the percentage is small, and you get nothing out of it. If you take out insurance, that is, as many like to say, use a martingale on the next currency pair, it won't cover the losses from this trade. Well, if you use the same currency pair, that is. So let's wait a little longer then. Look, I took a short break. I also didn't show you the news before that first session. In 20 minutes, there will be some very strong news about the British pound. High priority, plus maybe this or not, but I checked literally 10 minutes ago. There were 2 circles here, now there are 3. Basically, the currencies haven't changed, plus the fact that there are a lot of news releases coming out, and strong ones at that. The currency pairs that were affected, there are very strong movements on them, up and down. That's the kind of market it is. I recommend not trading during strong up and down movements. These movements are exactly what characterize volatility.